What's that?
Was that?
So we have a
right?
friend that his wife wants AC, but he doesn't want to pay for
I
it.
think I
John?
got everything
It's
set
not
up.
bad.
Oh,
Done?
It should be all set.
Okay. The call our meeting to order. The first item on the agenda is the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge of allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America,
and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Can we just have one moment of silence for Sally Roche Wagner from the Gage Matilda Gage Foundation, who passed recently? Thank you. Almost forgot it. Let's read it down. Okay, any changes, additions, deletions to the meeting agenda? Okay, our minute from June 9th. I think they had some corrections or
Yeah.
something said. They've been updated.
yeah, so I moved to accept them as edited by me.
They moved and
Second.
all in favor? Fine. Okay. So are these abstracts both the same number?
One is 2 and one is 26. 26 is last year's
Is that
bills.
right? But these
I have
are both
updated the summary totals, but one is wrapping up the bills from last year and one is for the
right,
previous.
that abstract number on the top says the same number, so you know which amount was switched or doesn't.
I do.
It shouldn't say the same
Yeah,
number,
yeah.
or
That's the same number.
I-
This is,
I know they're not.
this
the
is,
same.
this is two.
This is two, the actual
This
two,
is,
and then
this is, no, this is our, the year we're in now. This is last year.
How did
See that
happen?
number?
no, see, abstract two, that's what I'm saying, just the numbers or whatever.
All you
May I
got,
see that one?
You're fine, I just said, I mean, it's not a big deal, we just put it in right, that's all.
Did you add the new ones to the old year or what?
No, let me go grab the other one. I apologize. I thought I had two different ones here.
oh, they're the
No.
same ones.
Yep, I'll go get the other
Oh,
one.
all right,
So, no, you're
I
not.
knew there were two, that's why I just
Oh,
thought.
no.
So this is the new total because
Yep.
this was the,
Sorry.
Yeah.
Did you add it to abstract 2 or 26? Cause I have a 26.
26.
I
Yeah,
added
the
to 2.
two.
Okay,
I
well, I have,
changed
You had
twenty-six, so we
26.
still have that.
I
Thank you.
got you.
Thank
Okay.
you.
There you go.
Nice job.
all right. Now we got that figured out. So abstract number 26 in the amount of 56,544.26.
So move.
Second.
Moving seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
And then abstract number 2 dated today in the amount of $755,488.52.
So
And second. Moved and seconded, all in favor? Okay,
there's a big bill in there. That's why.
It is the final payment for the
Thank you.
firehouse bond.
561 over there.
it also has the Circus Symphony in there, which is another big bill.
Doesn't that mean that, don't you like break a bottle of champagne?
For
And
his head.
insurance.
Yeah. Over the fire, yeah.
Yeah, when you end a mortgage, it looks like ending and going.
Does it feel like 20 years? Is it 20 years? 15.
Let's say money back in for 3 or 4 years, but we'll see.
Okay.
Might have other needs.
All right, next to the fire department.
All right. So we did our canvas for our new hires. We have 3 openings and I'd like to move on 2 of them. I'd like to move Jack Shepherdson to a provisional firefighter EMT at the starting rate of 56,326.
Oh,
Second.
Moved and seconded, all in favor?
The other one is Dylan Lennox at the same rate of 56,326. He's one of our old dorm students.
yeah, yeah, no, same.
Is that firefighter and EMT also?
Firefighter EMT.
Okay, good.
Second.
So moved.
Moved and seconded, okay, all in favor? Okay,
Both of those 2 will go off to the academy in August and graduate in November. The other hire is paramedic Kayla Grisler. And she will come in at the contract rate, I think it is $26.25. She's a paramedic.
So, second.
Moved and seconded, all in favor?
We have one more we're doing a canvas right now, the letters are out. I would like permission to hire a paramedic at the rate of $59,326. Once the canvas letters come back and we can get him on board, as long as everything falls through with the clerk.
To approve,
So make motion upon.
to approve upon.
To approve upon all the requirements.
Yep. I just don't want to wait till the middle of July
Right,
for the next meeting to do this, so if I
You
can,
want a can and put it,
it's canvassed already.
okay, so now you just want to put it to bed when everything's done.
Yep.
Okay, I'm with you, I understand
all
why.
right, moved by Jane, seconded by
Second.
Dan, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay,
That'll bring all of our full-time spots back to square. Thank God. I would like to hire a part-time firefighter EMT, Ryan DeLava. At the rate of, the contract rate of $27 an hour.
One move.
Second.
moved and seconded by Jane, and all in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Two more things. This week's pay checks, I asked Lori if we could put a packet for EAP, the Kraus EAP. Our officers group met with them at our last officers meeting, just to kind of go over some mental health awareness stuff for the group. We're going to continue down this road with Kraus. They have a packet of information for us, so we're just going to put them with each of the payroll with their checks and distribute them that way. It's kind of on them if they need help or anything like that. It's for the family. It's a great program, and hats off to you guys for paying for it, because it really is a benefit that I don't think many employees know about. And I didn't know about half the stuff that they offer or do. So it really is a good program.
Let me spell that out for folks as the employee assistance program.
Yep.
Just to put that so people understand what you're talking about rather than the acronyms.
Yep.
Have you had some participation?
Don't know.
But you're not,
It's all anonymous.
It's,
You're not supposed to.
Yeah, it's all anonymous.
Yeah, I know.
So it's,
No.
nope.
but our intention right now is just making people, the
Aware.
employees aware of what they can take
There's so
advantage.
many new employees and there's so many things going on in the world that at least they know that if they're going through a problem, they have a problem, they got something they can call in a minute and talk to them.
It's a great sound.
Assistance, yeah.
So
I think that's awesome.
just trying to keep them all aware of what we
Yeah.
have.
That's great.
So we're gonna be handing those out.
The only reason I ask that is if someone does go through a program and it works out good for them, there's always another ear. They are ear.
Yeah.
I know when I was working long time ago, it was very important to have that other ear. So I'm not saying that you gotta know, or we should know, but if someone volunteers or something like that, and they say, geez, it really helped me. And also the person that might decide they might have a little difficulty, and there's a mentor there.
No, I mean, again,
I mean, I understand you don't have to say.
yeah, I'm never gonna know unless they come and tell us.
Yeah, right.
So, and then the last thing I would like to do is get bid specs ready. So at the July meeting, we can have bigger discussion about the roof on the 85. I have a quote, but I want to I got to put bid specs together because this quote's 74,000 and some change. So, gonna work with the vendor to get bid specs wrote up and, so we can go to bid and try to get this done maybe before winter.
What did you mean by 85? The roof on?
So it's the
Part of
back part, that's the 40-year-old part.
uh,
It's slate,
Okay.
that a lot of the slate has fallen down. So we're pitching architectural shingles with snow guards. So we don't have to call them to come push the pad off anymore. But more importantly, it comes down, it's such a danger that,
Oh, no, I get you. Slate was beautiful,
Yep.
but it's gotta come. So you're looking to remove all the slate?
yep, remove the slate, and Lori said there's probably some value there, so we might want to put something in the bid spec that says to be careful taking it off so that we can get some value back out of it, or they can take a credit on it or something like that if they wish. But that way it's at least noted that there's something there. So
Okay.
Yeah, get the quotes.
I gotta put a bid together so that we can get it out to bid. So if you're all right with that.
Yeah,
Yes.
That's all I have.
Okay. You're welcome to go home and relax. if
I am
you'd like
gonna
to.
go-
We've had a
I'm
couple
gonna
of
go home,
shifts.
curl up in my little bed, and go to sleep for 12 hours.
You have all the names, right? He gave
Actually, it won't be that long.
hopefully with AC.
It's been a long 34 hours, so we're gonna go home, sleep for 12 at least. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you, chief.
All right, DPW,
We got a few purchases. I'll start with Bobcat. This was approved in the budget hearing. Already. Going through the Bobcat of Syracuse. The total will be $84,386 with a trade-in of $36,000 for a 2016 Toolcat. The quote total is $48,386. I'm gonna try to get that ordered and hopefully it should be in by next month.
They gave you that much, and
Yeah, I was surprised. That's really the only reason we plan to do it.
it's because you take good care of them.
Yeah, yep. We didn't use it in the winter a ton, besides cleaning off the bridge, stuff like that. So, but it's a valuable piece of machinery.
You're looking for a motion?
yeah, motion to spend the 48, well, to
Put it in
purchase
the
this.
budget.
Yep.
It was good.
So a motion, do we have a
So
second?
move.
Second.
Moved and seconded, any other discussion or questions? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Could you,
Go ahead.
could you go with me when I wanna trade my car in?
They gave to us.
As long as it's a Bobcat, you're fine.
Oh, he might need one,
Not a back.
he might need one for his next car.
Oh,
The next is a project we're doing over here on Chapel Street. It's for environmental paving solutions to come in. We will be removing the sidewalk and curb reveal on Chapel Street, the 100 block. They'll be coming in basically to pour new sidewalk and curb reveal all the way down for us. Again, I believe it was previously approved in the budget hearing. I just need a signed vote and a motion to have the vote.
so that turns into being the curb too, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep, everything will be ADA compliant, the walk pads, they'll replace all four corners of Clinton Street and Chapel Street. We should be in the week after 4th of July to start and hopefully finish the same week.
So move.
Vote,
I'll second.
moved and seconded. Any other questions, all in favor?
Aye.
And lastly is a tree up at the dog park. It's actually inside the dog park, it's a decaying Norway spruce, and then one outside the fence a few feet. It's just to have Bartley come in and get it removed for us as soon as possible.
So I did sign that because they did say that it was more emergency type situation than not, so I've already signed the contract with them, but I only signed it today, knowing we were meeting tonight, so.
Okay.
This is, we'll take a motion in a second to approve it, but it's already underway because of the conditions
So
that
moved.
they found.
I'll second.
And upcoming projects, we have Chapel Street and Walnut Street.
Hold on.
All all in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
Okay.
Chapel and Walnut will be milled out starting Thursday and Friday and hope to be completed by Friday afternoon. I'll be passing out flyers down Chapel and Walnut tomorrow to just notify homeowners prior to starting of milling. And we'll go from there. We plan on paving probably sometimes near the end of July, depending on the weather and when Suco can get back to us. So we have some curb work to do down Chapel after the mill, and then we have a little bit of pipe work to do further down Chapel after the road's milled.
Hey,
Thank you.
thank you for the DPW. And you were, I know you were in to check on the storm the other night, over the day.
Yesterday afternoon, I came in and just saw, we had a few trees down, but nothing crazy.
Nothing bad, which was good compared to some areas.
Yeah, it was,
This area was pretty bad.
your area's real bad, yeah. Isn't that interesting? It's just, you didn't know that that was going on at the
I
time.
literally was shocked because I didn't know it in the middle of the night, hitting everything. I really did.
Yeah, we had,
Then it's like I woke up and I started hitting the news feed. It's like, oh my God.
that's,
So microbursts are a big deal.
Okay, so we have an updated CDBG 5-year plan. Lori has that. So this is in conjunction with community development grants that we've applied for in the past. We make some changes over time, such as the last one that went in for the heating and at senior center?
Well, this is updating the plan to include the HVAC for the senior center because we just bumped down, I mean, that took place and bumped everything down. Because we've approved a plan last year, but then it's a
Changed.
living document,
Right.
as Michael Flair, Community Development tells me, so it can change and we can be flexible with it, but as in doing such, we have to re-examine it, pass a resolution to adopt it each year. So that's really the only thing that changed. Everything was pretty much had been ADA, handicap accessibility. We were kind of going down that road until we found out we could put the money towards HVAC at the senior center. So I think if everybody saw a copy of this, so it's just actually adding that one change and what we approved last year. Do I just need a resolution
So approve
accepting?
to accept the amended
5-year plan,
5-year CDBG 5-year plan.
I'll second.
moved and seconded. All in favor?
All right.
Okay. Next, we have the Bartlett tree removal, which we talked about under DPW. So that has been taken care of. Next on the agenda, we have the support of the exclusion of the EMS costs from property tax cap. Mark's gonna speak to that just a little bit.
Actually, it was very interesting because this particular piece of legislation going through the Senate and the Senate had approved it. And we were waiting for the Assembly to push it out. And this is actually really important because EMS now has become a real priority in the state. The government has decided it's a real priority. This actually was passed last week, just so you know, but actually this is in order to encourage the governor to sign this. This is sitting on her desk at this point in time. We wanted to do that. Because this would remove costs that are associated with EMS from the real property tax cap, allowing municipalities to expand and better support their local EMS. Now, this is a measure that's needed in the short term, while other solutions to the EMS crisis are discussed. The other part with this, don't anticipate this to be going on forever, but we do know that Chief was still here, he would certainly talk to us about how EMS is one of those areas of his budget and our budget that are continuing to move higher and higher, and it's really hard because we have to provide the services that are required to our residents and the other people within the fire area. And our fire contracts to do that, take care of the town, et cetera. Because this is really important to everybody. Everyone has high expectations and we've been able to keep them. So I would like to have a proposal just to send a letter of support to the governor's office about this. So I will put that into a proposal for that and I'll make that now,
Second.
What can not community discussion.
Yep. Yeah.
I just wanted, I'm in favor of it, but I want to make sure I understand it. So what they're proposing here is, and the reason why it matters to us is because we do have a fire department that provides emergency services. So we pay for that. And we being our residents, our property owners pay for that. And every year we have worked on the budget for these costs. In addition to that, so that's that budget. In addition to that, every year we've had to deal with our property tax cap issue at the state level, and we've always were considerate about where we were with our any kind of tax increases. And I don't remember our exact resolutions, but we agreed to go beyond this tax cap. I don't know if I'm saying
We've overridden
we
that.
override it. Okay.
Yes.
So because we've done that and we're always looking at the budget, we're technically accomplishing this our own individual way by overriding the property tax cap. But this purpose is to make it easier, I'm assuming, and more consistent across all fire districts, fire departments, EMS districts, and so forth, that they just don't have to worry about the property tax cap when it comes to costs associated with EMS services. Is that
correct.
okay?
You know what I mean?
So
Because what it does really, it removes it from the tax cap calculation.
from the cap,
It doesn't remove our responsibility to our
Correct.
residents. That's the other
That's
part
the
I always
key.
have to remind.
it just takes that portion of our budget and says we can remove that from our budget when we're dealing with the tax cap issue.
Right.
Okay,
So what I think is important is we already have the ability to do the tax cap override
Yes.
if we need to, and we
Right.
have done that.
Yes.
Even the few
Even if we
times that we
haven't,
didn't,
do.
just because it's a covering ourselves in the
Yes.
event something changes. But I do believe and plus we also give these numbers, we pass them on through contract to the town as well, so it actually helps in their bottom line, but also I believe, it's been a while, but that if you stay under that tax cap, there are rebates that are given to taxpayers. So, you know.
It could benefit the taxpayers.
Yes, it could
This
benefit
is-
the taxpayers
this is
by
the-
doing this because these are
Yes.
costs that we have to bear.
Yes.
A lot of it is their fixed costs because it's their
Yes.
wages and
Yes.
retirement and benefits and
Yes.
such.
They're necessary costs, and I get what you're saying. If we remove that portion of our budget from this tax cap issue, it really could result in a benefit.
And other municipalities don't pay.
Right.
So not every municipality has an even.
That's
Right,
exactly.
So
what-
it's not an even playing.
Yes.
There's a lot of
Right.
municipalities that don't have EMS.
All right, so now you wanna take vote?
Yeah, if you got all your questions, everybody's got it kind of hashed out a little bit.
Did you have fun, Ted?
Very good.
You had
I
your
saw
pen
that.
raised again. I didn't know about you.
Good. As long as we had, yeah, it's good to talk about it and know what we're
No,
talking
there's no
about
problem with that
and
at all.
why we might want to do it. It's important. So all in favor?
Aye,
So we will
Aye,
close the
aye.
letter. for
Yeah.
the
Thank you.
governor.
yeah.
All right, solicitors permit, see Michael Exteriors.
Yeah, I left that folder on my desk, so see Michael exterior, what's that?
I don't know, we don't.
It's
Oh, yeah,
it's kind of
fine.
door to door
Yeah.
to sell their services, hand out information about the work that they,
Background reports are all complete and everything else. Otherwise you wouldn't be bringing it to us.
or we'd be pending background investigations. Same, the same parameters as far as what days, what hours and all that would apply.
So do you know if we have like a set ending time? Because we've gotten a couple of
Complaints.
complaints from people that like they're still out there soliciting at 8:30 at night. It's still light outside and like especially right now, this month or whatever.
Their
It'll
permit can be revoked. We have to allow that, but if they don't work within their
Right, well, I
parameters.
mean, can we like
It's a
limit,
year.
can we just say that they can only do it till 7 o'clock at
Oh.
night? I guess
Right.
that's what I'm saying. I'm not saying,
It's meeting.
rather than, did we do that
Yeah.
or?
We did
Yeah.
limit, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
we
I'm
changed
just
it.
making sure because again, I had an email from somebody like this past week that they were soliciting at 8:30.
I believe the
Uh,
town actually just revoked one or two of the pest control.
This was the most recent as far as.
You know,
parameters. It seemed to be.
I had a pest control person come to
there's
my
some people
door,
that.
9 to 6.
but I don't
Right.
think they even
Friday.
have. a
Okay, no,
permit.
that's fine. I
They
just,
said
I
it
just,
10 to
working
4.
on
On Saturday,
Yeah.
no holidays or
And
Sundays.
I just,
Okay.
he was very nice.
that's all fine. I was
Two
just making sure
seconds.
that I thought we had changed some stuff, but I wasn't.
You got it in your
remembering.
room, so they call.
That-
Awesome.
Perfume, I said.
Go door to door.
Okay, so a motion to allow that with our parameters for C. Michael.
I move to allow the solicitor
Exteriors.
permit for C. Michael Exteriors
And
under the normal circumstances that we have within our contracts. And our agreements.
a second,
Motion seconded, all in favor?
I,
Okay. Trustee updates, wanna start?
I don't even know what week it is. That's just the way it's been going lately. I actually don't think I have anything in the mind here to try not to go crazy and enjoy myself and make a quick evening of it. How's that?
Okay. Jane, any
Uh,
updates on stuff?
no, the community garden is fine, they're having a hard time because we don't have. Really, meaning, we don't have, it's gonna sound crazy, we don't have running water. We have running water, it's just not as accessible to them as they're used to, so they're just, we're all trying to deal with it. Tyler and his crew have been fabulous, but with this hot weather, those barrels run dry by 10 a.m. There's just,
I'm gonna try to run a spigot out the front door.
if you
tomorrow,
can,
just temporarily.
yeah,
Just that.
it's just give people. But this does, and I don't know if I should bring it up here, I just am going to, because I'm remembering it now.
Okay,
It made me think of of the volume of water that we ultimately have accessible to these gardeners. I don't know if that is something that we should consider. I don't know, but I happened to be helping Danny complete the audit and I got the bill, saw the bill for our water bill for all of the various properties that we have. And the senior center water bill is far higher than everybody else. They serve people, they have a kitchen, they have lots of reasons for running water, so I don't want to make it sound like I'm blaming the community garden, I'm not. But it's just something that hit my brain. I said, boy, I never thought about the cost of the water to the garden, so.
So the only thing there is they haven't really, like the bills are usually for 3 months.
Yeah.
Typically,
Yeah.
right? So even though the bill was high, we haven't used the water on the gardens because we haven't got it hooked up just yet. But that's something that we can look at and see.
Yeah, it's, if people
you
think
know.
it's something we should be paying attention to, I will.
Yeah,
That's
no, it's a
all.
good thought to bring it up though, to think about it, because
Yeah.
it's one of those things that you just take for granted sometimes and you don't think about what the cost.
Well, I
might
was
be.
taking it for granted because I was
Yeah,
thinking.
I was too, until you just said it.
Over the
Like
weekend.
a minute ago.
I was thinking, why don't we just get a sprinkler out here and just, on these really hot days. Just get a sprinkler running for everybody's garden, in that area, but. Aside from, somebody's resources to go out and make sure it's running and all that good stuff. There's the cost of water, so that's all.
Okay.
Everything else is the same.
Right.
Moving forward on everything else.
Dan? No? Lori, Ted? Okay, I just have a couple of things. Won't take long, maybe. So our fireworks contract for the Fabulous Festival. We received the contract, it is for $4,000, so I'm seeking authorization to sign the contract for the festival fireworks.
So moved.
Second,
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Next is the Central New York Arts Grant that we still are working with and on. So I've had a conversation with Brandon Lazore, who was an artist that we have been considering to do a mural. I kind of want to, because we're not meeting now only once a month for July and August, I kind of want to get moving on this to hopefully and to not miss out on the grant opportunity that we have. So kind of, I wanted to make sure that we've talked about using I'll call it the front of the barn, so the side of the barn that faces the parking lot to create the mural on. So that's one part of a conversation that we can have or that we can agree to. And then secondly, if we were going to go forward with the concept of the idea of the artwork that was going to go on there regarding the Haudenosaunee Indians, then we would ask him to create some kind of a proposal like we did through the other artists that did the other murals for us. And I talked to him briefly today. His idea was to, because there are gardens there, the community garden, the memory garden. It's now it's not the senior center anymore.
The
It's
center.
the center. There are some opportunities where we could display something and have I'll call it a placard for lack of a better term, but whatever you want to say, a little explanation about what somebody's looking at, because somebody driving down the street might see some Haudenosaunee significance to it, but unless you're familiar with it, you might not know the real significance to it. That property lends itself to perhaps we've talked about other art opportunities that we might want to pursue. That campus lends itself to that type of situation. I'm not saying that we're agreeing to doing that right now, but just in general, like longer, bigger term types of thinking, perhaps that would work. I did talk to Brandon about the idea of panels. He's been to the site. I think Trustee Casey mentioned that last time, and he's measured, so he has the ability to do 5 or 6 like panels that he would do in his own studio, bring here and install himself on the side of the barn and things. So that's a little bit down the road yet, but I just want to kind of keep this process moving. So the first thing would be to whether we agree with the site or the location to do something. And then if that's the case, an agreement to proceed with some kind of an idea from Brandon perhaps about how we look at this or what we look at from there.
Well, then I'll offer a motion in order to take the site to become the barn, the front of the barn at the center. I happen to think it's a really good one. This is a little bit different. This is more not what we've done in the past, but this is more looking for an area of creating an area for reflection about our past and our history as well. So it's a very interesting way to look at it. So that's my motion.
Okay. Moved by Mark,
Yeah, I'll second the location as a understanding that it's our selected site right now, but if something comes up, we have the opportunity to discuss site, not that we have any.
yeah, that's fine. I just want to kind of,
Well, since it's on panels, we're in a position where we could change it down the road very readily. That's
right,
the
I
other
just
piece.
kind of want to just be able to keep the process going. So if people have more ideas, no, but I'm just saying, like, if we have different ideas or something, all of a sudden that was something that wasn't
Right.
initially considered.
Right.
So that's a good example of something that can change along the way or whatever, so. All right, moved and seconded. Any other discussion on the location? All in favor?
That's fine.
Okay,
I did think of one thing, maybe, if I can go back and. Which one?
oh, yeah,
A few years ago, didn't we take out an insurance policy on the, the symphony? Do you remember doing that?
I think we did in case it rained.
Yeah,
That's what you're getting at.
yeah.
That was a long time ago. You wanted to look into that again?
I don't know, I get nervous about
Or we want-
it has been, we have to pay regardless.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, we have a certain amount of time to cancel, right? what is the?
So I'd have to look at the parameters.
Yeah,
of the
there is a certain amount of time. I don't know if it's 24 hour, I'm not sure exactly what it is. Or I don't even, we used to actually have an alternate site, the school.
Right.
They'd go inside. It
So
was
we
a
have the
long
option
time
for a
ago.
rain date, maybe
Right.
not necessarily that it has to be moved inside that evening. I think that was the caveat, that if it does rain, they would go to the middle school that night. We've never had to do that. The last couple of years, we've kind of gone with the backup of a rain date. That could be.
Because of party in the closet was a really key point where it had to make some tough decisions. Thank you, Karen. It actually came out well. But the other part was that's not going to work for us every time, and we know that too. So it's hard.
We had to cancel.
You still,
Yeah.
the second part of that is you still are on the art thing, right? You had one more part.
yeah, so that's okay, but we got.
I
that.
just want to make sure
Yeah.
that I didn't skip
Yeah,
over
no, you're fine.
that.
So then
I thought it was
the
done.
second part of the art thing is, do we proceed with Brandon coming up with some kind of a conceptual idea and design for us? So that we can keep moving forward, since how I haven't been approached with any other ideas or designs or anything at this point in time anyway.
Make a motion to move that forward because, I mean, I think it's actually the right way because Brandon actually understands the Shoshone Nation better than I do. And he probably understands our local history better than I do. So I'd like him to come with suggestions and make it so that we can actually have a good conversation with him and really make things work right for everybody. So that's my
If
motion.
he comes up with a conceptual design, it doesn't mean that that's again the design that we have to move forward
No.
with, but it's something that we can discuss and
It's for
have to work
discussion.
with. As opposed to, I was just trying to, and I had this conversation with him, it would be difficult for me to try and ask him to say, well, can you incorporate this, can you incorporate that to make it appropriate? Whereas it might be better if he started the process and then we could look at it to see its appropriateness and or if we have questions or thoughts or ideas about it, that would maybe change things or do something different, so.
Agreed.
Okay, so moved by Mark,
I'll second it, but I'm seconding with the understanding that this artist is going to be putting something together, a piece together that is relevant to our community, not just the Haudenosaunee. And I don't know where that intersection lies. So but it is my assumption that there is an intersection there.
So we can, so move to the second, now we can discuss it a little bit before we vote. So the idea that he had with me was something to do with more of their cultural as far as their growing and things like that. They're three sisters type concept of the corn, the beans, the squash, the different things like that. Based upon the idea that it was near gardens and stuff like that. The other connection that's very strong to here, and Mark may know more about, does know more about this and may, not just may, is also the connection to the women's movements that developed over time was it attributed to the culture of the Haudenosaunee, who had women as their leaders or as their, I don't know if that's the right term, but their women were very well respected, more so than the men in their community. And so that connection to the gauge and the different aspects of women's movement generally in this area of upstate New York and Fayetteville for the gauge.
One of the key components here is Matilda Gage actually thought the Haudenosaunee Nation was really great strides in front of a lot of the rest of America because they're actually a matriarchal society where the different clans are actually headed by clan mothers. And so the women actually had a very strong place in their governance about what was going on. In most other governances around the world, women had no place at the time. So she thought that was very, very important. The other part that I find very important also is because the Haudenosaunee were actually part of creating our Constitution in the United States as well, and understanding their concepts of what democracy was were very similar, which were incorporated within our US Constitution. So it becomes a kind of thing where we have very strong interplays with all of this. And so it becomes a very interesting place and much more to be examined, by the way. And it's like when we were talking about at the beginning of our meeting of the amount, when we're showing respect for Sally Ryder Wagner, it was important because those are the kinds of things that she was exploring that had been forgotten until she actually moved into our community and started talking about this from a historical perspective to make sure people.
Okay, all in favor? Okay, thank you. The last thing that I have is, so last meeting we discussed the dog park a little bit. A question was posed to Ted as regards to noise ordinances within the village, since how it was a noise complaint. I've had conversation, the dog park is village owned, but it is located inside the town of Manlius. It's not in the village of Fayetteville. So you have those codes, you have the residents that are upset by the noise coming from the dog park are in the village of Fayetteville. So you have two municipalities. But fortunately, our codes align with the number of decibels that are allowed as far as noise complaints. We complaints about the thing. So going forward to try to resolve this, there's a couple of things that I intend to offer them. One is in talking with the town's codes enforcement officer who deals with noise complaints. The town of Manlius Police do have decibel readers, and they would respond if there is a complaint. They can call 911. They would respond with their decibel reader, and they can actually take a reading of what that noise level might be. That takes it out of the hands of a particular codes officer, be it village or town, takes it out of our hands as far as whether we have an opinion, whether it's noisy or not, takes it out of the residents' hands as to whether they have an opinion, whether it's noisy or not. It's kind of just an impartial way, according to the town codes person that I talked to, an impartial way for them to kind of come to terms and decisions about how that works. So I will offer that to the residents because that would be themselves that would have to hear the noise and experience it, call 911 in order to have that happen to see if indeed that's a thing. They are still suggesting that we would move the fence of the dog park and move it away from the street a little bit further into the park itself. So the next steps to that, I've asked trustee Jane Rice to approach the Parks Commission with that, to have them review it as a whole. I've talked to a few members of that commission in the past. but I don't think it ever came to them for a look, so I would like to have that as a more formal request from us for them to look at that idea to see what they think. We talked at the last meeting about replacing the dead trees, but now they're saying that the trees won't make a difference, so I believe we should hold off on that till we come to some more resolve and then decide what might be best in that regard. And then the last thing that I intend to do is to ask Tyler to work with me and get some quotes for the actual cost of moving the fence if we go that way, because it never hurts to have an idea of what all the pieces coming together will be, and then we can make better informed decisions at the end of the day. So any thoughts, ideas, suggestions? Different than that?
Moving the fences, you know, I mean, that's a possible. Is it gonna make that big a difference? How far are you gonna move it that it makes a big difference?
We're talking, say 30, good round numbers, 30 feet, 35
So-
feet, something like that.
In response to your question, because I had the same reaction, and I went there today specifically to look more critically at the layout of the dog park.
Right.
And there is a small section for small dogs, and then the rest of the section is larger. It's intended for probably small and large dogs. So the thought or the thinking is the outer fence closest to Do Good Road allows where it is right now, it allows the larger dogs for 35 feet to, visually see the smaller dogs, and the smaller dogs to visually see the larger dogs. So if you move it up 35 feet, you prevent that kind of interaction. There's still a section. It says the park, and arguably it's a little confusing. Is it the dog park or is it they're both called Do Good, but one is DUGUID and one is DOGOOD. So is that sign meant for either park? I don't know, but more importantly, I think for us is that it says that the park closes at 10 p.m. So I don't know if that's intentional on this board's part for the dog park to stay open to 10 p.m. And
We can always revisit that idea of having hours
Yeah,
for the dog park.
that's
that
exactly
end
right.
Earlier than.
that's
10.
that's an easy solution. That's a very easy way to, back to the decibels. If I recall correctly, it's not just decibels at any time during the day. It's decibels also after hours. So there's a certain decibel level during the day, and then of course there's another kind of quiet time decibel level after hours. And to Danny's point, that reading has to be taken from their property, not from the dog park. Although if you took it from the dog park and it stayed below,
Right,
then there's no way it's higher at there.
right. Just this approach in thinking about things just kind of helps to alleviate pointing fingers or
No, we're
not
trying
pointing
to,
fingers and try to solve maybe some issues. Try and find out if the issues actually exist or don't exist. And then just take it to a level where it's common practice in other areas of code enforcement to do it this way. I think that's the best way to look at it, is it's basically a noise complaint that we're receiving, so let's deal with it as what it is. And then in the meantime, we will look at other possibilities that might be workable, but we'll see how workable they are or how necessary they are, and we can come back and revisit and talk about those whole things. Looking at kind of thinking about that idea of
Right.
stuff, those two
The whole
things,
thing.
the fence
The
itself
layout.
and the and the
Delay on the
hours of
start.
operation, because I doubt people are up there at 9, 10 o'clock at night with their dogs, but again, I'm not up there at 9, 10 o'clock at night to see if they're up there or not, so. Or maybe none of us are, so we want to kind of sort that out a little bit or whatever.
Try not
But
to-
we'll try to see how accommodating we can be and what we can